Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. We are absolutely delighted to be back with you another Friday for this, our lunch and learn. This is where we meet each Friday at this time. This is where we have those discussions, those conversations. This is where we learn and this is where we grow. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, wherever you are joining us from. We welcome you to come on in and share with us. And as you come in, we welcome you. Please go ahead and drop in the chat where you're joining us from. We are delighted to have you sharing on this, our audio live session. It is Lunch and Learn. And today we're talking about limiting beliefs, understanding limiting beliefs and the consequences of these beliefs. It is very important that we understand what limiting beliefs are and the consequences that they will have on our lives. So, we want to thank you so much for joining us. With me today is my co host, Dr. Marcia Thomas. She is joining us from the beautiful island of Jamaica, and she is a Christian leadership coach and consultant. As a matter of fact, she's a strategic leadership coach and consultant. And also, my co host as well, Dr. Sigfred Howell. He is joining us from the beautiful state of Delaware in the United States of America. And he is a life, happiness, and relationship coach and consultant. He's also a master life coach. And as usual, I am yours truly, Dr. Janice Brooks, joining you from the sunshine state of Florida here in the United States. I am a leadership coach with the Maxwell team, and I'm also a licensed pastoral counselor and a temperament counselor, a life strategist as well. Thank you so much for joining us today for this audio live session where we're talking about understanding limiting beliefs and the consequences. But the first question would be what are limiting beliefs and behaviors? Because when we hear about limiting beliefs and behaviors, we have different meaning. And I'm going to ask my co-hosts both to join with me to talk about what is really this limiting belief. I want to say firstly that limiting beliefs are negative or untrue thoughts that we have cemented into our beliefs, not just about ourselves, but about other people, about places or circumstances. And the thing about it is that these thoughts, if they are held firmly to as truth, they become our beliefs, they become our behavior, and they ultimately governs our life. But today we shall know the truth, and the truth shall make us free. So, Dr. Marcia, I want you to tell us in your own words, what are limiting beliefs?
Simply put, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here again, and I'm very excited about this topic because sometimes we are held in place like cement because of the things we believe. And so for me, limiting beliefs are the false stories that we tell ourselves and convince ourselves that it is true. So let me repeat, the false stories that we tell ourselves and convince ourselves that it is true. And so we have placed in our minds these actions, thoughts, and habits. We have told ourselves these things over and over. They become a part of our psychic, they become fortified in our spirits, and we begin to act them out because we are now convinced that they are like vitamin C. They hold us together. And those are the beliefs that propel us or hold us back. And that's just limiting beliefs for me.
Excellent. They are like vitamin C. Dr. Howell, do you want to add your voice to what are limiting beliefs?
I want to say that I fully agree with what you ladies have said. already, but I want to add a few things. The first thing I want to add to the fact is limiting beliefs come in different forms. They can come in the form of biases, they can come in the form of imposter syndrome, and they can be caused by a myriad of different factors, such as your experiences, your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, your attitudes, your personality, your culture, your environment, and your explosion and your exposure. There are a couple of laws that I like to talk about. The law of belief. The law of belief says that you will achieve. If you think you can achieve it, you will. If you think you can't achieve it, you also will do that. And so your beliefs are the things that can propel you into success or can hold you back. So limiting beliefs are all of those things that hold you back. And they are just thoughts and ideas that are ingrained in us because of experiences, because of personality, attitudes, and different experiences and things that happen to us along the way.
Can I add too that they are sometimes subconscious? We sometimes don't even realize that they are there unless somebody points it out to us. And that's an important point I wanted to.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Dr. Howell. Thank you, Dr. Marcia. But now that we have all identified in some way what limiting beliefs are, Dr. Marcia, let me ask you now, how does one identify these beliefs and behaviors? Because you just said that it can be in their subconscious. How does one identify these beliefs and behaviors?
One of the things, or one of the unconscious ways that we settle into our limiting beliefs, is we are very averse to change. There are some persons, if they even have to change their tea, just the tea, it is a life-changing thing for them. It takes them into a tailspin. So that's one of the things that makes me know that I have a limiting belief. I am very adverse to change. The next thing is that I'm very settled. I have a comfort zone. This is the way it has always been done. This is just who I am. I just don't like change. I don't think that it is possible. I have never done it that way, and I have no intention of trying a new way. This works for me, and I'm not going to disturb it. Those are some of the things we tell ourselves when we have limiting beliefs. No, we don't want to, and maybe we go into the next issue, but some of us, we don't want to confuse limiting beliefs with healthy caution. That's very different. So what limiting beliefs are those things that we tell ourselves that hold us back. How do I identify that? If I procrastinate because I am just not confident enough to try something that I'm very capable of doing, that is a limiting belief. That is how I can identify that I am limiting myself. I do not want to take risk, even with the things that I'm very informed about, even with these talents and skills that I have, even if I'm overqualified. I just feel that something will go wrong. And there are some of us who are very pessimistic. We decide that this something will in fact go wrong, and I don't want to take the chance because this could go wrong. This could, the word could there suggests that I have issues. I always see what could happen instead of focus on what is happening. And that in itself is how we can identify if our beliefs are limiting us. The final thing I want to say about limiting beliefs is that anything at all, even if it is a strong conviction, that allows me to self-sabotage or not reach for the things that God have created for me, not allowing me to fulfill my destiny. Anything that prevents me from completing my God-given assignment has limited me. And I need to look into myself to find out now, what are the things that triggers me? What is it that I want to do? And what is preventing me?
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Marcia, for those potent points. Thank you so much to everyone who is joining us today on this Lunch and Learn session. We are talking about understanding limiting beliefs and also the consequences, because limiting beliefs, they are held consciously and unconsciously by people, and they're also lived out every day. And these prevent us from living our full potential and living our purpose. And Dr. Marcia said it earlier, consciously people say things because they believe the lie. And unconsciously, they live their lives set upon these beliefs and behaviors that limit them from exposing what is truly inside of them. Remember, we're talking about it is inside of you. And these limiting beliefs can come through family upbringing, education, past experiences, and from so many different places and avenues. And when you identify them, you have to now work to eradicate them. So, Dr. Howell, I want to come over to you. How does limiting beliefs hold people back?
The first thing I want to say is the fact that a limited belief is caused by a fixed mindset. Because if you have a growth mindset, one of the things that you know is, I may not be capable now, but I can be with hard work and determination. And so when you start to possess a limiting belief, you are saying to yourself, I right now do not have the capability, nor will I have the capability in the future of doing it, because I'm putting self-imposed barriers on myself. And these self-imposed barriers prevent me from taking risks, pursuing opportunities, or even achieving goals that are manageable. They can also cause you to self-sabotage, procrastinate, or settle for less than you deserve. And so they're very crippling. And a story that I want to tell is one that I heard when I was very young. It was about 6 blind men that were put in various points beside an elephant. The first guy held the tusk of the elephant and said, "Ooh, the elephant is like a spear. He's sharp and pointy." And the second guy, he grabbed the trunk and he said, "Ooh, no, the elephant is like, ooh, what is he like? He's squishy and he's long, but I can't identify." The third guy said, "Ooh, and the elephant is like a big fan," because he was touching the ears of the elephant. Guy number 4, he was right there by the side of the elephant, and he was like, "An elephant is like a big giant wall." The 5th guy was by the leg, and he said, "An elephant is like a tree trunk." And the last guy, he said, "Oh, the elephant is like a snake," because he was grabbing the tail. And so what I want to say is their experiences led them to certain beliefs. But if they had a growth mindset, they would move around and see that there were different parts to the picture that they were not experiencing. And so with a limited belief, you would hold tight to the one thing that you believe to be true, even though it may be false, even though it may not be factual. And so limiting beliefs can hold you back because you get trapped in a fixed mindset and you do not believe you have the ability to change it or move forward.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Howell. Those were some excellent points. And you talked about the that animal, those persons who looked at it in different ways. But indeed, it is actually so, because our limiting beliefs, they're there to hold us back. And I say hold us back, and hear me with this word "us," because none of us is perfect. Every single one of us has somewhere, whether in our subconscious or in our conscious, a limiting belief. And limiting beliefs can also weaken our immune system. As a matter of fact, limiting belief can make you sick. It weakens your resolve, your resistance, even your resilience and your determination to do certain things. They also rob you of your peace and your fulfillment. So these are like sticking things in our lives, and the best we can do to get them out, to get them out of our system, to get them out of our lives, then the better we become over time. Dr. Marcia, so now that we have talked about, how they hold us back, Dr. Howell gave such a clear explanation of how they hold us back. I wanted to, talk about how these limiting beliefs, how can they protect us from things that were never meant for us? Or should I say, can they actually protect us from things that were never meant for us?
Number one, limiting beliefs are not protection. They are not armors. They are cages. That's number one. And so if you are at the wrong side of limiting beliefs, then you can never be at the right side of anything. Because limiting beliefs were never meant to protect anyone. And we must never, as I said before, confuse them with healthy, conscious, cautious decisions where we wait on information and we use the information at our disposal to make an informed decision. So let me clarify that. First of all, a lot of persons mix up limiting beliefs with healthy caution. And so as we establish that, we want to say now that if you are a Christian, for example, and your steps are ordered by God, then you would always consult him. And so there will be no limits to what you can do, because there is no secret what God himself can do and what he has prepared you for. And for that reason, limited beliefs can never be seen as a protective shield at any time. It is limiting in itself. Therefore, it does not offer any excess. It does not give room for any allowance. It marginalizes your efforts and it marginalizes you. Therefore, let's look at it now. If it marginalizes me, then I must choose the growth mindset that Dr. Howell is speaking about, so I can accomplish what God has created me for, because there is no limit to your potential. When you tap into your potential, it drives greater action. Where is the limitation there? You get wings. You get the opportunity, and you get the space to be very creative, to be innovative, to use your initiative, to fail, to make mistakes, to learn from your experiences, and to cultivate maturity. Maturity that says experience teaches wisdom, and be able to inspire others, because you are now able to communicate to yourself. I am capable. I am enough. I deserve it. I can do it. Today is my day. Anything that does not allow you to do that is not protecting you, and it is a limiting belief.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dr. Marcia. And we cannot by any means give power to limiting beliefs. So if we say that they're protecting us, it means that we are giving power to them. And nothing bad can be our protector, even though sometimes it may appear that they're our protector, but nothing bad can be our protector. That was indeed some food that you gave us there. Dr. Howell, if you do not have anything to add to that, I am going to ask you another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely. And, Dr. Marcia talked about they are not something that protects us. How can we destroy these limiting beliefs that we hold in our conscious or subconscious mind?
I'm glad you asked that question. The first thing I want to add to what was said previously is the fact that, yes, 95% of our decisions are made by our subconscious. So we have to be very careful what we put into our subconscious. And the subconscious is fed by the conscious mind. So whatever you experience and whatever you think about will eventually, over time, if you dwell on it, drop into the subconscious level, and it becomes an expectation. And another piece of information is between 40 45 to 55% of our personality is genetics. So we have the ability to fix or to change between 45 to 55% of our personality, depending on how much you inherit. And so things like happiness is inherited. Things like sadness is inherited. So there's certain things that you may not be able to change easily, but there are some steps that you can take to reframe and to rethink those beliefs. So the first thing that you can do is to identify those limiting beliefs, and you start to put boundaries on them, and then you look at them and you look for instances where they have been incorrect. So for example, if you were to say to yourself, man, I'm not good at math, but you can remember a time that you got a good grade in a math test, you can debunk that belief. So the more that you can find reasons to doubt that limiting belief, the more you seek positive things that reinforces the fact that you may not be as bad as you think in a certain area, is the more that you can start to reframe that negative belief. So if you can invalidate that belief, you can start to change your belief about that particular thing and about yourself. So, and you can replace them with more empowering beliefs. The second technique that you can use is called CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is basically you train yourself to look at things from a different standpoint. Mindfulness is similar to that, where you look at the present things that you're doing and not at the past things that you have done. So that goes back to the growth mindset again, where you know, because you were a certain way in the past does not mean that is the way you have to continue. You can change with hard work, determination, and focus. Another thing that I like to add to that is HQP, high quality people. They said that if you surround your, they did an experiment and they said that if you sit within 25 feet of a high producing person, just by proximity, your productivity increases. Now, on the flip side, if you sit next to or within 25 feet of a low producing person, you will produce on your job less because of proximity. And so that is how important it is to have the right type of people around you. And that also has to do with your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind can say, hey, I don't want to look bad next to that high producing person, so I'm going to perform a little better. But when you are a high producing person and you're around lazy people, you say, man, why am I doing all this work? And they're not doing all the work. So you start to dumb down your work. So you change your perspective, you reframe your negative experiences and your negative beliefs. You surround yourself with high quality people, and you use different techniques to help you change those negative beliefs, and you'll find that you will get more success.
Excellent points, Dr. Howell. Very potent points. And that is why I believe so much in the power of mentorship, coaching, and even counseling, because these persons help you to become more self-aware. They help you to understand who you really are, and they can challenge these beliefs that they see in you, and that sometimes you don't even see these in yourself. They are there, but you can't see them. But with the help of persons like mentors, coaches, and leadership professionals, they can help to pull you on the right track so that you can release yourself of those limiting beliefs. We are almost at the end of our session today, but I want you, Dr. Marcia. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I want you to add your final words to this session. If you were to bring out 2, 3, or 4 points that you want to leave the audience with. And then I'm going to ask Dr. Howell, after you have completed, to do the same, because we want to leave the audience with pointed ways that they can know limiting beliefs and also release themselves of limiting beliefs.
I want to add, though, to one of the ways that you can relieve yourself of limiting belief is always to look at your reference point. You were not originated in the sky, you were fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are created in God's image and after his likeness. He puts into you all of what you need to move forward. He says, if you believe, there is nothing that is impossible for you. Nothing. All things are possible. All things, if you believe. And he has set us up in such a way that he says, even when you do the wrong thing, I can make it work for your good if you just believe. Just believe that it can happen and that the good things that I have provided for you are out there and you can just reach for them. How do you reach for them? Change your thought. He says it is your mind that builds your breakthrough. Whatever you put in your mind and repeat to yourself over and over begins to run your life. And so you must start with transforming your mind. Your mind must get you to the place where you understand that God has given you everything that you need to do what you need to do. Do not become distracted by the things or the people, the haters, the delayers, all of those who are put on your path to make you stumble or make you turn off track to your potential and what you were created to do. The fact of the matter is, what you tolerate is what you get. If you want to change anything and turn it into light in your life, whether personally or professionally, you must stop making excuses to yourself. You must always remember who you are and whose you are. So the next time a limiting belief comes into your mind that says can't, remember, all things are possible if you believe. Believe that it can change and believe that you're worth it.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marcia, for those points. Dr. Howell, what would you like to leave our audience with today?
I'd like to leave you with a small story. Today's this day for stories. I'm giving a lot of stories today. So there was a guy who went to a circus and he saw this elephant being held down and restrained with a tiny rope. And the guy was amazed and he was like, this is a big elephant and he can easily pop that rope and run away and get away. So he looked and he saw a guy who was taking care of the elephant and he said to the guy, hey, I want to ask you a question. Does that rope hold that elephant? And he was like, yes, it does. And it does a good job. And he's like, explain it to me. And he said, well, when the elephant was young, I tied him with the same rope and he pulled and pulled and he tugged and he tugged and he did everything he could to get away and to break that rope and he couldn't break it. And after a while, he gave up. And now he doesn't try anymore. So now he's big enough to break the rope, but he's not breaking it. And that ties into limiting beliefs because when we're young, we're filled with vigor and enthusiasm. And somewhere along the educational path, we lose a lot of that zeal and we lose a lot of that light. And it's because the strings of life have held us down and we've pulled and tugged and tugged. And now that we have larger resources, we're scared to use them because of our limiting beliefs. So what I want to encourage you to do today is you can break those strings of limiting beliefs by arming yourself with information, by getting a growth mindset and believing that if you put the time, the energy, and the sweat in, you can improve, you can achieve, and you can overcome those things that pull you down. Secondly, if you surround yourself with the right type of people, they can inspire you, especially like when we were talking about that 25-foot rule. People can inspire you by proximity to become better. So don't focus on the negative people. Don't focus on the negatives in your life. Focus on the positive things in your life. And then another thing that I believe is equally as important, are affirmations and gratitude. If you consistently look to find things that will build you up and you make that a habit, you will start to see more positives in your life. And that will diminish a lot of the limiting beliefs that you have. And eventually you will get to a place where you will not be held back by anything or anyone. And last but not least, remember whose you are.
Wow, wow. Some excellent points there from both Dr. Marcia and Dr. Howell. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to leave a few words as well. I say, if a man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives liberally and holds not back. One will need both wisdom and understanding to identify limitations. Wisdom will allow us to start taking conscious notice of the things that we say and that we do. In other words, wisdom is your convictor. It will convict you of what you are not doing right, the limitations that you're holding on yourself. And we cannot destroy something in our lives unless we're able to identify them. When we're able to identify them, then we're able to face them and we're able to challenge them. The story of David and Goliath speaks well. David was able to challenge Goliath because he was able to see that Goliath for who he is. He didn't see him as a giant. He saw himself, David, as to who he was. And so he was determined to face what others saw as a giant. Face the limiting beliefs, challenge them, ask for help to do so. Ask God to show you how to really face and challenge these limiting beliefs. Ask others, ask for help, ask mentors, coaches, other persons who also understand you better than you do. Remember, you can do all things through Christ. Go out today and challenge those limiting beliefs and rise above them. You are born for greatness because greatness is within you. And greatness cannot shine when there is limiting beliefs holding you back. Go out and shine today. Challenge those beliefs and be the very best person that you were created to be. Thank you so much again for joining us for today's session. We will be back here on Tuesday morning at 7:45, where we have our regular audio session talking about another relevant topic that we believe will help you to learn and grow. Then on Friday, next Friday, again at 1 p.m. Eastern, we will be back for our audio event. We want to thank you all, whether you're joining us from the Facebook Live or you're joining us on YouTube or you are joining us here on LinkedIn. We want to thank you so much for really connecting with us and for dropping those comments in the chat there. Mr. Roberts Iman, Believe Aku, Richard Barkley, and Arf and Chevron. I'm not able to see all the names, but if your name wasn't called and you're watching us, we want to thank you so much again for staying with us for this 30-minute session. And you got this. You can do this. Go out and shine and have a great rest of your day and weekend. God bless you. And thank you so much.
Goodbye.